morning to others. A very warm welcome to this Gobeshona Global Conference number 3 and the session on securing the food systems of Asia megadeltas for climate and livelihood resilience. We have a very promising and interesting session. For your information, the session will be recorded so that you can also see the session back later on. We have 5 interesting presentations. My name is Catharine Terwischa van Scheldenga. I work with Wageningen University and Research in the Netherlands, and I'm the lead of a research program on food systems in deltas. In this session, we work together with the colleagues from the CGIAR, from the Asia Megadeltas Research Program. And together, we like to tell you more about food systems in Asia Megadeltas. As a first speaker, I would like to introduce to you Dr. Humnat Bhandari, who is the representative of IRRI in Bangladesh. He will give us an overview of the session titled Securing the Food System of Asia Megadeltas for Climate and Livelihood Resilience. Dr. Bhandari, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Catherine. I saw one question there. The chat is disabled. I don't know if that's intention or...
Oh, I hope that the tech team can enable the chat, because that would be nice if people can have questions that they can put them in the chat. We will have a question and answer part after the presentation. So yes, we would like to hear your feedback on that. While the tech team is working on that, I move back to Dr. Humnat Bhandari for his introduction. Please go ahead.
Yeah, I hope you can see my slide. Catherine, can you confirm?
Yes, we are seeing your slide.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Humnat Bhandari. So I'll be talking about the overview of this securing the food system of Asian megadeltas for climate and livelihood resilience. Last year in 2022, the CGIAR started one new research program for the Asian megadeltas. And this is the title of this program, Securing the Food Systems of Asian Megadeltas. And it will be implemented in 3 megadeltas, the Ganges in Bangladesh and India, Irrawaddy in Myanmar, and then Mekong in Vietnam and Cambodia. The main objective is to develop the resilient megadeltas by incorporating science and innovations and linking with the policy. So for that initiative, I'll be giving a brief overview, what is the main objective and what are the challenges and what are the main research focus that I'll be talking in this one. And if you look at the Asian megadeltas, the major part of this megadeltas is about a large part of this one is below 50 meters above the sea level. And the IPCC, the projection in 2020, 2001 and 2019, there is a difference that the sea level rise is becoming more intense and more problematic. Like in 2001, it shows that sea level rise could be 0.2 to 0.7 meter, but now the projection is 0.6 to 1.1 meter, which means it's a major problem, especially for the megadeltas. So what are the challenges of this different sea level rise and other climatic stress? So as I mentioned earlier, this Asian megadelta program is focused on the 3 megadeltas, the Ganges in Bangladesh, India, Irrawaddy in Myanmar, and that Mekong in Southeast Asia, which is Vietnam and Cambodia. So in these 3 deltas, this is the home of about 400 million people with a huge population density there. Also, it's the hottest spot of poverty and malnutrition, and also it's the food basket for not just the three deltas, but also for the whole Asia. So this is very important in terms of agri-food system. And they face different climate stress like extreme precipitation, drought, salinity, tropical sea level rise, and extreme heat. So these are different climatic stresses facing this mega delta. So how do we build and design the technical, social, technical, and policy as well as institutional innovations so that we can build a resilient mega deltas? So that's the main objective of this research program. So as I mentioned earlier, so the main objective is to develop a resilient, inclusive, and productive deltas. So you can see the three components. One is climate resilience, other is inclusive and productive deltas that maintain socio-ecological integrity, adapt to climate and other stress, and support human prosperity and well-being. So there are two components here. One is climate, other is livelihood resilience. So in terms of the framework, it's focused on the three type of framework design here. One is the agro-environmental landscape. So it's biophysical component, agriculture component, and then local context. So it integrates different agroecological landscape, not just the one component. Second, it's human landscape. So it's also includes the social, institutional, and other components, landscape, that one. And then integrated system approach. How do we combine the biophysical and socioeconomic aspects so that we can develop the integrated system? So it is looking at the solution in terms of different components. One is the research and innovations. Once the research and innovation is there, it's not just with research, but also how do we scale that innovation so that generate impact at the scale. Also, it focused not just the technological solution, but also the enabling environment, the policy institution, so that these innovations can be adopted and scaled. There is wide component in terms of the partnership, national, international partnership, knowledge sharing, and capacity building. So you can look at it, not just the technological solution, it's the integrated system approach it follows. So to achieve these different objectives and solutions, this program has identified 5 distinct focus areas. One is the focus area 1 is about designing the delta production systems, which is more resilient to the systems. So it's focused on the very production side oriented. Focus 2 is on the nutrition sensitive agriculture food systems, which is more focused on the designing nutrition sensitive production system. Focus area 3 is focused on the more reducing the risk, especially the climatic risk across the value chain. Focus area 4 is focused on the more governance in terms of the local, national, and regional level governance in the food system. And focus area 5 is designing different evidence-based policies so that investment can be designed and implemented in this 5 across these 4 thematic areas. So these are the 5 different focus areas. I'll go a little bit detailed of this one. So focus area 1, it's focused on it's more on the production oriented. How do we design the different production systems, testing, and then once the tested innovation is there, scaling of those innovations so that the resilient and diversified delta production system is designed and implemented across the whole different systems. So the main key output is the suitability assessment, learning alliance, improved agronomy, and agribusiness models. So these are the outputs that will be generated under this focus area 1. Focus area 2 is more on the nutrition sensitive agri-food systems. For example, if we develop the production system, whether that will have transformation on the consumption and production side. Will it will this have sustained and enhanced nutrition security for the population of this Delta population? So this is more focusing on production, policy, and investment leading to the sustained and enhanced nutrition security. The third component, how do we minimize the risk in the value chain in the Delta production system, is mainly focusing on using digital tools to provide the climate advisory services so that the risk in terms of the production, consumption, and all components of the value chain can be minimized, and then resilient system can be developed. So this is more in terms of climate services to reduce the risk. Focus area 4 is more on the governance side. For example, we have the production, we have the policy, but how do we develop the capacity of the national, provincial, and local actors in terms of planning, designing, and implementing more sustainable food systems? So more in terms of looking at the water governance, agriculture governance, value chain governance, so natural resource management governance, this focus on that one. And then final focus area 5, in terms of generating different evidence as well as the data, so that it helps in terms of planning and investment with the different climate change scenarios, the current scenarios as well as the future scenarios. How do we support the national government in terms of planning and investment to build this resilient production system? So this the Asian megadeltas, it has a 5 distinct focus areas. These focus areas will be implemented across the 3 megadeltas. So there will be a lot of opportunity in terms of partnership as well as the class across delta learning systems. So finally, what we expect at the end of this project, although this is initially we designed this Asian Megadelta program for 3 years, but we expect this will continue until the 2030. And at the end of the 2030, it will contribute in terms of 5 major outcomes. One is nutrition, second is poverty, gender, climate, and environment. So in terms of nutrition, it is expected by the end of 2030, at least 1.5 billion people will be benefited in terms of enhanced nutrition. In terms of poverty reduction, at least 400 million people in the deltas will have increased income. In terms of gender, at least 4.7 million people will benefit from the adoption as well as the different policy as well as the socio-technical innovations that will benefit the women empowerment and also the other marginalized groups. In terms of climate adaptation, there will be different adaptation and mitigation solutions which will benefit at least 4.8 million people with the benefit of 1.8 billion in terms of return to investment. And also there will be improved management in terms of natural resource management, climate risk adaptation, mitigation. 2.6 million hectare agricultural land will be under the improved management. So this is briefly the overview of these Asian megadeltas. And although this is implemented by the 6 CGIAR centers, but we look forward to working with the different national and international organizations to implement that one. So one of the key theme of this initiative is the partnership and knowledge sharing. That's why there this type of opportunities and then Gobeshona conference and other opportunity will bring together different stakeholders in terms of learning, sharing, and scaling of the innovations. So thank you. That's in a short time, that's the very brief overview of this Asian Megadelta program. Thank you. And Catherine, over to you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Bandari, for this very insightful and concise overview of this interesting research program of the CGIAR. We will hear more about the subject matter also from other researchers from inside that program. But like Dr. Bandari said, research works together with many other different partners. So I move to our second speaker on the list, Mr. Ghiyasuddin Chaudhry, who will present to us about the Bangladesh Delta Plan 2100. Mr. Ghiasuddin Chaudhry is Deputy Team Leader of the Bangladesh Delta Plan support team. And he has a long experience on the matter, also having a solid background on water management in Bangladesh. Mr. Chaudhry, the floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you. Shall I start my screen share?
Definitely.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and while you're sharing it, I can say to the audience that the chat, meanwhile, has been enabled. And very much welcome to all. And if you have questions, please put them in the chat, because after the 5 presentations, we will have a Q&A session. Ghiasuddin, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Catherine, for your kind introduction. And I was also listening Dr. Bandari's presentation, and that helps me a lot because he was speaking about also climate change and everything. So my subject is Bangladesh Delta Plan 2100, priorities on agri-food system, development and resilience.
Ghiasuddin, we cannot see your screen yet.
Oh, I shared it.
Okay, then please try again.
Oh, okay, let me see it.
You need the green button in the bottom part of the Zoom screen.
Yes. Can you see it now?
Not yet. Yes, now I think it's coming. I can see your screen.
Okay.
And are you putting it in the viewing mode? The slide, yeah. I can see everything clearly now. Please go ahead.
Okay, thank you. So my presentation will be on Delta Plan, the priorities and what is gone. Okay, sorry. I can take it. Okay. Priorities on agriculture, food system development and resilience. So you are all aware that Bangladesh undertaken the preparation of Delta Plan in 2014. And in 2018, that plan has been approved. And now another project is going on. The project is going on to support the implementation of the Delta Plan. So in this slide, I try to explain the position of Bangladesh Delta. Our 3 river system, Ganges, Brahmaputra, and Meghna, flows through the Bangladesh. And in Delta, our definition of Delta is Bangladesh Delta, we call whole Bangladesh is included. Dr. Bandari mentioned about Ganges and Brahmaputra, but that is okay, one definition, but when we talk about Bangladesh Delta Plan, we talk about the whole Delta, whole country. So, and this situation is, we are downstream all river systems. So this is a strength for us, also a concern for us. So we have abundance of water in wet season, while scarcity of water in the dry season. As such, water resource remains is a key sector. So we thought the proper planning and management of the Bangladesh Delta is critical to the country's sustained economic growth and social development. So we know Bangladesh is a flood-prone country, both river flood, flash flood, sea drought also is prominent, and storm surge, salinity, all we know, these are the things, and also sea level rises and other things that Bangladesh is facing. Now, we have to combat the future climate change, we have developed our mission and goals. So our mission is achieving safe, climate resilient and prosperous delta. That is our mission. How we are going to achieve this? Our mission is ensuring long-term water and food security, economic growth and environmental sustainability while effectively reducing vulnerability to natural disasters and building resilience to climate change and other delta challenges issues through robust, adaptive, integrated strategies and equitable water governance. For you will see that our food towards this water security and food security is most important one. And to achieve it, we have higher level national goal also to eliminate extreme poverty by 2030, achieve upper middle income etc. by 2030, also higher level goal of being a prosperous country beyond 2040. That was the higher level goal. And according to achieve our mission and vision and high level goals, we have defined 6 goals. First goal is about flood risk management. Second goal was providing enough water. Third goal is about integrated river management system. Fourth goal is about sustainability of environment. Fifth goal is governance, and also sixth goal is spatial planning. So this is our delta plan in short. Now, to achieve these goals, we have prepared national strategies on flood risk management and freshwater management. We have divided the whole country into 6 hotspots, and for that, we have developed marine and drought-prone areas, coastal zone, river system estuaries, urban areas, harbor and flash flood areas, and CHT. These are the hotspot strategies we have prepared. Alongside, we have prepared thematic strategies. They are land and spatial planning management, agriculture, fisheries, and livestock forestry. For today's seminar, I think this may be most important: agriculture, fisheries, livestock, forestry. Also, we have developed strategies for transboundary water management. As you know, we are the downstream of the whole river system. So transboundary water management is also very important. Then we have another thematic area: environment, ecology, and biodiversity, inland water transport. Now, recently, Bangladesh added the Bay of Bengal. This is the economic zone. So we have added one theme, blue economy, and then, of course, renewable energy and earthquake. So these are the strategies we have developed. For short of time, I'm not going to describe it, but I'll mostly focus on agriculture, fisheries, livestock, and forestry. So what I actually want to share you that we have developed a investment plan, and we have 80 projects or programs are there. Now, and in our Delta plan, we said that all projects should be holistic. And now this slide is very important to understand what we mean by holistic. Holistic, we mean each project will address the management of water security with respect to climate change impact, food security, environmental sustainability, economic growth, social and institutional development. So when a project will be designed, all these components, that is water security, food and nutrition security, economic growth, environmental sustainability, social development, and also institutional governance or institutional development will be included. And Dr. Bandari also, I think his presentation also similar to us. So this is very vital to understand what we are aiming in the Delta plan. We are aiming for holistic development of water resources, and these components is an integrated part of our planning. Now coming to agriculture, you know, agriculture is like to bear the main brunt of output losses due to climate change and natural disasters. climate change could impose costs on economy significantly higher than the estimated global average loss. So our EA is application of BDP vision, mission, goals, and strategies will further enhance the resilience for agriculture sector in terms of creating an enabling environment for growing crops. I like to stress the word that our Delta plan will create an enabling environment. That is most important for growing crops. And that is our goal. And how we are going to achieve it? So you see, for the challenges Bangladesh faces agriculture challenges. We have prepared a baseline studies on agriculture and other 25 subjects. And from there, we have identified climate change will become a major threat to Bangladesh aspiration to ensure food security, poverty alleviation, and sustainable development. Agriculture, including horticulture, forestry, livestock, fisheries, is the most climate sensitive sector. After achieving lower middle income country status, the challenge is not achieving food security, but to sustain food security over the medium and long term in face of climate change. You know, our Delta plan is a long-term planning. It caters for about 100 years. So we should have to focus far inside the future. So this sector needs to adapt to the impacts of climate change to improve the resilience of food production system. Since water is critical to agriculture, managing water resources and addressing the vagaries of climate change will have to be co-integrated national strategies. Now, main challenges that we have identified in Delta Plan to achieving and sustaining food security are in the longer term include increased population, expanding urbanization, threatens food security, impact of climate change and sea level rise, loss of agricultural land, uncertainty, water availability from upstream, land use change, land degradation and diminishing productivity of land, price volatility of food items in the domestic and global market, disruption in the food supply chain. Also, trade barriers and uncertainty in international trade, labor shortage and high rate of agricultural labor, fossil fuel dependence, hybridization, genetic engineering and loss of diversity, seasonal variation of food supply, locational variation of food supply, high underemployment resulting in low accessibility of food, inequality of income in the society. These are the main points I am citing to you. Then, when we have also we have discussed about the challenges facing fisheries. In fisheries, an important challenge is to address the factors that are adversely impacting on fish production. Factors responsible for capture fisheries are decline in siltation, channelization of rivers, unplanned construction of dams, amendments, roads, diversion of water flow upstream in the transborder rivers, degradation of inland water quality owing to discharge of untreated industrial effluents, domestic organic waste and agrochemicals. Sheep cultivation presents its own challenge by contributing to soil salinity owing to inappropriate cultivation practices. Why you include this fisheries and livestock? Because our goal is to also achieve nutrition security, and for nutrition security we must have a solution for livestock sector, also fishery sector. So regarding livestock, the major challenges are protecting them from natural hazards, providing fodder, providing veterinary services. In our baseline study, we found that disease is the most important part of law production of livestock in Bangladesh. Improving the quality of food chain processing, improving marketing, ability of credit, ability of investment resources. Now, in this slide, I like to show you this I have taken from NAP report recently published by the government. And you can see the climate change and impact is a very important dynamics. And this slide was prepared for agriculture, fisheries, and livestock system. And at the end, you will see here this fish production, crop production, and livestock production. It depends on so many factors here. So climate change is very important to consider to increase fish production, crop production, and livestock production.
Ghiasudin, you have 2 minutes left.
Okay. Now we have given strategies for agriculture sector. Also, we have given measures how to achieve it. And about fishery sector, also we have given strategies and measures. Along with also for livestock sector, we have given the strategies and measures. So so our Delta plan, we have developed the strategies, and along with also we have given measures and how we are going to achieve it. So we have developed Delta investment plan, which consists of 80 projects to be implemented by 2030, physical projects 65, institutional and knowledge development projects 15. So in the beginning, I said the holistic project concept we adopted. So in all 80 projects, this holistic approach will be there, and agriculture or nutrition, food security and nutrition will be very much important component there. And our Delta plan has total capital investment cost is about 37.50 billion. The projects are in 3 categories: preventing too much water, that is flood space management, and ensuring enough water, that means providing irrigation water, and in the same time our water quality is deteriorating, so we have also ensuring adequate water quality, adequate quality water to provide. So this is the in one sense in a summary of Delta plan. So in the end, in the conclusion, I like to say that Delta plan, if it is implemented, it will create an environment, enabling environment for growing crops and for achieving food security and nutrition security. Now, Delta plan is a 100 years plan. And in this slide, I said that we have started the work in 2040 formulation, and Catherine was also very much part of this formulation process. Then we have approved the Delta plan was approved in 2018. Most interesting, this is the only plan which had been approved at the National Executive Council, headed by the Prime Minister, Honorable Prime Minister, and all the ministers. And that is now binding for all other institutions to follow it. And
Ghiasudin, can you almost conclude?
Yes, that's the last one. And by 2003, we'll achieve this this Delta goal, national goals and SDG climate. And we hope by 2041, Bangladesh will be a prosperous country. So if you have more information, if you require, we have a website, knowledge website. And this is the address I have given. And if you like to have any question, or if you want to have further information, please contact us. We shall be happy to answer your question. Thank you. Thank you, Catherine. I do maybe 1 2 minutes more. Eh?
Thank you very much for your solid presentation, because we want to hear all about it. This is very interesting with regard to the topic of this session, because I think when we look at the deltas in Asia, Bangladesh is kind of showing here an example of how an integrated plan can be made. We do have a question in the chat, but I am not at the moment looking at the question. In light of time, I like to move on to the next speaker. So Ghiasudin, if you, yeah, thank you. You already stopped sharing.
Yes.
We will come back to the question on this, but we had this presentation at the national level what government is doing. So that links very well to research what we are doing. We also like to give you example of research. So I'm now handing over the floor to Dr. Monoranjal Mandal. He will present to us about nature-based solutions for improving agriculture productivity and resilience in the polders of Bangladesh. Dr. Mandal, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Catherine, for your nice introduction. Can you see my slide?
Yes.
So, so my presentation is nature-based solutions for improving agricultural productivity and resilience in the polders of the coastal zone of Bangladesh. I'm very much thankful to Engineer Giyasuddin that he has stressed on the issues of food security and nutrition security with available water resources. And he mentioned that we have huge water resources in the west zone, and we are less water resources or scarcity in the dry zone. So I will explain how in the Ganges coastal delta, how these water resources can be most effectively or efficiently or intelligently utilized to increase food security, food and nutrition security, not for now, in future. So probably that will help him, the Delta plan, to adopt these types of technologies. This is our experience for last 20 years. I'm presenting the technologies that we have developed from the coastal zone of Bangladesh. In this presentation, I'll give some background. I need not to do some background because Dr. Giyasuddin already mentioned that. Older hydrology and ecosystem, I'll mention some. The traditional water management and then cropping practices in the coastal zone, what their farmers are doing, and what's the challenges in adapting improved agricultural system, and then their solutions, and use of the available water resources, whatever the available water resources in and around the farm for food and nutrition security. And finally, I'll wrap up the issues with conclusion. So the coastal zone is rich with water resources, offer huge potential for Bangladesh to make a quantum leap in meeting future food security requirements. So we are food secure now, but it will be in future that we don't have any problem of foods that the technologies we have developed. The government has constructed polders. You can see here the red encircled polders to enclose to protect the 1.2 million hectare from cyclone and tidal surge that mentioned in the Delta plan. So this productivity of this zone is very low, and how to improve that productivity? I will show the technologies from our 20 years of research experience. So in the South Central zone, this part, the 2 to 3 crops are grown in a year. This is a relatively better zone. You can see here the salinity of the zone until 2030. IWM predicted that the area will remain non-saline until 2030. So there's a huge potential here. But in the southwest zone, there will be a mixture of saline and fresh water, and farmers used to grow 1 to 2 crops per year, and the productivity also of this zone is low. So this is a polder, a typical polder. A landmass is enclosed by the Arden embankment. Now it is carpeted for better communication. But when I was very young, or even the college-going students, we have to walk in these muddy roads. And there are sluice gates to take water in and take water out in case of flooding. And there are some natural canals of these islands when it is enclosed by the embankments. So the traditional cropping practice is that farmers used to the sluice gate open in the month of July, and then the farmers used to cultivate traditional rice from July to mid-January. It's a long duration crop, and the sluice gate is remain closed. And after drainage, you can see after drainage the field get closed in the month of end of December. So this is the traditional practice, and this on ad hoc basis it is closed and open. So not very purposefully open and close it that. So you can see that after Amon harvest, the farmers need to wait for 1.5 months to go for Rabi crops cultivation. So generally, the soil is dry. Soil is dry to 1.5 months, and then after that they cultivate the dry season crop from mid-February to end of May or early June. But this is the beginning of this pre-monsoon. After mid-May, second half of May, that is the beginning of the cyclone season or the pre-monsoon season, and that damages the late established non-dry crops. I'll show you some of the examples how the crops are damaged. This is in Khulna. This is also in Khulna. The mung bean crop is damaged. This is in Barguna. Chili is damaged. This is in Potuakhali. The sunflower crop is damaged in different years. I'm telling that I'm conducting this research for more than 20 years. So this means you can see here that this is the long-term average rainfall, 1965 to 12, that there is around 300 millimeter rainfall occur in the month of May. So any crop, if it is harvested beyond May, then there is a chance, a high probability of crop damage. Because that is the observation is that if around 60 to 70 millimeter rainfall occur in 1 or 2 days, the non-dry crop damages. So this is a risky cropping pattern, and this pattern, this cultivation of high traditional varieties in the wet season hinders the intensification because it's a long duration. So we propose that. Then why the farmers cannot grow for high yielding variety? We propose that high yielding variety can be a measure, but you can see in July in Shakti area the water is around 50 centimeter. In Potuakhali, it's 70 centimeter. In Khulna, the crop is submerged fully submerged. This is the time farmers need to apply nitrogen for before the panicle initiation for higher yield. In October, water is full to the brink. In November, when the rice is matured, you can see that the water is muddied. Even the laborers cannot go for harvesting quickly. In February, again there is rainfall and flooded the field and damaged the crop, and it is May again. So you can see here that the excess water is the main problem. And waterlogging is the key constraint for cropping intensification, not the salinity. Salinity really hampers some yield, but waterlogging cannot, waterlogging or excess water is hindering for cropping intensification. So what we need to do, the drainage is the key intervention we needed for successful cropping intensification in the coastal zone, in the Ganges coastal zone. Remind that the drainage is the key, not the irrigation. Irrigation improves the yield, but if we not drain the field, we cannot adopt the improved production systems. So can this be drained by easily? Yes. You can see here, this is the average land level in all of the polders, 1.6 meter, and this is the high tide and low tides. The coastal hydrology is different from other parts of the Bangladesh. You can see the at high tide water is entering into the polder system from the sluice gate, and water will reach up to here. This is the start of the high tide. So in a cycle of year, and this is the elevation, water elevation, the low tide, almost 0 means sea level. So that is about 1.5 meter head difference for drainage. So drainage, gravity drainage is not a problem for most of the coastal lands. So, and also irrigation. So this hydrology, which is different from other parts of country, offers free irrigation and free drainage. This is a blessing for the coastal people. So identifying those, we have in consultation with the community and water management organizations developed by the Water Development Board, we developed a improved water management with improved cropping. This is the traditional one that I have shown. So the sluice gate, this is in the medium saline zone. So the sluice gate will remain, could be open in the beginning of the July, and then there will be 2 times drainage for nitrogen top dressing in HIV rice, and also to make favorable water environment so that HIV rice can be grown. And HIV rice can be harvested by end of November. So by mid-November, the terminal drainage could be there, and then shut down the sluice gate. And then when there is the soil is remain moist in the month of end of December or early January, then at that time the crop can be dribbled, and then maize and sunflower and high value crops can be grown, so that it could be harvested before the onset of the cyclone season. So this is one of the risk climate risk award in procedure. We cannot resist the climate change, but we can develop the climate resilient cropping systems. So a necessary solution to improve our food security. So now let's see the crop. This is the top one is in the Barguna area. You can see here that we started the sluice gate open in the month of May. As I mentioned that this salinity is not, most of the river salinity are not there. Rivers are fresh. And then 2 times nitrogen top dressing and the terminal drainage for harvesting of the almond berry. Then the sluice gate remain open for irrigation drainage for the differing from gas now. In the medium saline zone, this is the data from Khulna area. So the sluice gate will be open around mid-July, and then there will be nitrogen top dressing on in mid-September, and then terminal drainage will be mid-December, mid-November. And then the non-gas crop, we established the farmers, through farmers' participation, established crop from January to December. This is in the medium saline zone. And the sluice gate remain closed from December, so that there will be no saline water. And for this dry season crop, we utilize the residual soil water and rainfall. Residual soil water, we measured that in the soil profile within the root zone after monsoon, about 100 to 150 millimeter rainfall water remain in the root zone, which is equivalent to 2 to 3 irrigation. So we want to how we capitalize this. Farmer used to dry the land and then evaporate that soil. So we try to capitalize this that water for dry season crop. So
Dr. Mandal, you have about 2 minutes left.
Okay. You can. I will take 1 more minute to plus. So this is, you can see that the dibble crops, maize and sunflower, and farmer started the dibbling. And then you can see in the mid, every farmer harvesting the crop and the dibble crop, and then the farmer's practice is still, it needs on more months. So it is a risky. Let me show on video how to develop the semi-mechanized practices. You can see the farmers are dipping the maize seed on moist soil. And when the crop, when the soil is ready to fertilize, and the field is, the farmer is allowing the land after nitrogen. You can see the difference between the early planted and late planted maize. There is another technology of hair farming. This is common, probably you know it, that 2 rice crop and the vegetables can be grown in the dye with conserving the rainwater. This is another climatization practice that in the shorelands of Borishal, Potokali zone, the farmers can grow maize and the tidal water is enough to irrigate this crop. And this is another practice of the pyramid vegetable cultivation, where the marshy land, in the marshy land, to raise the bed so that water level will come only here, and then the farmers can grow non-dry crops. So this is the traditional cropping practices. 2 to 3 crops are grown in the coastal zone, and the productivity varies from 2 to 9 tons per hectare. With improved practice, the productivity can go up to 7 to 21 tons per hectare per year. So this is an example that if the productivity of this crop is 7 to 21 tons per hectare improved, and it is also good nutrition, because this is zinc exercise, and there are some nutrition from sunflower and maize. Now the last slide, the coastal zone is rich with water resources. By intelligent management of these resources, a natural gift, I will say that Bangladesh could make a quantum leap in meeting future food security requirements from the Ganges coastal delta alone. Waterlogging is the key constraint, and drainage is the key intervention and entry point for cropping intensification in the polar zone. Tidal dynamics of the rivers offer drainage and by gravity. Favorable water environment can be created by operating the sluice gate synchronized with the tidal phenomenon for rice and rice cultivation in the wet season. This will not only double the productivity, will also facilitate early establishment and safe harvest of the dry season crop under this climate vulnerable zone. So utilization of residual soil moisture with semi-mechanized practice could be an interesting and sustaining dry season productivity in the region. If the production system is adapted to 50% of the coastal zone, Bangladesh can achieve 4 to 5 billion ton additional food grain per year, and that might sustain or help in achieving sustainable development goal all on food. Just see a video for 1 minute, and then I'll finish that. You can see this is the river full to the brim at the high tide, and there is a controlled irrigation in the last dry season. This 2022 dry season, it was a very dry year. There is very low rainfall. Through this sluice gate, the farmers control the water resources and provide irrigation to the crop field. And you can see that there is about 1.5 meter difference between the water elevation and the land elevation. So there is a gravity irrigation is going on. The same river at low tide. This is the terminal radius from the polder zone. So this is the nature's gift. That with this we can in the polder and then go for high yielding variety. I think with this, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mandal, for this very interesting presentation. That the importance of integrating the water and the food elements, and you showed a very practical example how this can assist Bangladesh potentially to increase. You mentioned 4 to 5 million tons of food grains. So that's really very substantial and important for the country. In this session, we do not only focus on Bangladesh, we also look at other deltas. So we move to our next presenter, Dr. Gert-Jan Wilbers of Wageningen University and Research, who will present to us on water management and food system transformation in the Mekong Delta of Vietnam. Go ahead, Gert-Jan.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Catherine. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Good. Yeah, thank you. So yeah, today I'm going to give a talk about the agricultural production system in the Mekong Delta of Vietnam and how that is influenced by water and especially water-related pressures, and also to see what kind of transition pathways can be identified for those. So yeah, my name is Gert-Jan Wilbers. I'm also working, same as Catherine, at Wageningen University and Research in the Wageningen Environmental Research part. And my background is about doing research that is touching the interface between food production and water. So in today's presentation, I'm going to give an overview of main agricultural activities in the Mekong Delta and what kind of water sources are mostly used, and touching upon the water-related issues or the water-related pressures that are experienced by farmers, and that is the basis for defining transition pathways. So first, an introduction about the main agricultural production zones. So yeah, the Mekong Delta in Vietnam, that is the home for over 16 million people. And same as in Bangladesh and in other main deltas in the world, the main activity is agriculture. And around 50% of the land is cultivated with rice. Other major crops include vegetables or other upland crops, around 20% of the land. And there's also some intensive fruit orchards in the Mekong Delta, which is around 6%. And then another very main activity is aquaculture. That happens both inland in the delta, but also has a large density of more shrimp, more saline related aquaculture like shrimp farming in the coastal zones. And besides that, yeah, most of the farmers they have some cattle, like some beef, pork, mostly some poultry. But there are also a large number of, let's say, large-scale commercial livestock farms. So yeah, there are around 600 large livestock businesses in the Mekong Delta only. So it just gives you a glimpse about yeah, the kind of agricultural activities in the Mekong Delta, yeah, and how important this region is for food production, food self-sufficiency, but also for the national economy. We have conducted household interviews and focus group discussions with farmers in the Mekong Delta last year to get a glimpse about what kind of water source they're using and pressure they experience. So in here I would first like to show you what kind of water sources are used for agricultural production, and I highlighted rice and vegetables here. And what you can see is that especially in dry season, there is a use of canal water, but also there's a lot of usage from groundwater, from wells. And in the rainy season, of course, there's more dependency on rain, but also there is a main usage of canal water and also groundwater. And that's basically also the same for other IRRI and aquacultural systems. For example, also aquaculture relies on groundwater. And that touches upon the pressures that farmers are experiencing. Of course, if many farmers rely on the groundwater, they they extract a lot of this water, and that leads to groundwater shortages. And farmers are also experiencing that at this moment, that in some parts of the year, approximately 4 months per year, that there is a lack of groundwater, that they cannot extract enough for irrigation. And another main issue that is observed, that is salinity. And that is in a large part of the delta an issue, and it also happens quite a large time of the year. So farmers that we interviewed indicated that they have this that they're experiencing this issue for around 7 months per year, which is quite a long time. And that also is exactly in line with what we have been seen in literature and in previous research already conducted. So on the left side map, you can see a map of the water salinity. And here you can see that the most part of the Mekong Delta is affected by salinity intrusion. And that is in line with farmers, what they indicate, that they're also experiencing these salinity issues. But what's also remarkable here is that, you should have a look at the red and the blue line. So you can see that in just 4 years' time, that the border of water salinity for 4 grams per liter has moved inland already, and quite a lot. And that's just in a matter of 4 years. And it is expected that with the effect of climate change, sea level rise, this line will further move up inland. And so that salinity intrusion is and will become even a severe threat to agricultural production in the Mekong Delta. On the right hand, you can see a map of let's say pressure on the groundwater. So this is let's say the decline in groundwater levels in different aquifers, and the blue is rather low, and the more it goes to the red colors, the higher the decline in groundwater levels. So you can see significant hotspots in the entire delta, where groundwater shortage is a main issue, and that's also in line with what the farmers are already indicating. And if current practices continue, then of course this problem is going to worsen, and also another main pressure on agricultural production. So basically we've seen, among others, but we've seen two main water-related pressures on agriculture, so that's salinity and groundwater depletion. And we've also asked farmers what they are doing with these pressures, because farmers, they also take actions by themselves. They're not going to just wait and see what happens. So when farmers experiencing salinity, that's also interesting. They want to shift from groundwater instead of surface water. So this applies to farmers that use surface water mostly. But that also tells you that it's going to put more pressure on groundwater. They also try to control sluice gates just to prevent surface water flowing in. But they also already adjusting their growth calendar. So they try to adapt to the salinity situation and to shift with the seasons a little bit. To prevent growing crops when the water becomes too saline. But also, and that's quite shocking, it's that farmers also indicated that they just dropped seasons and then try to go for other forms of income, because they experienced that the farming was just not feasible enough anymore because of salinity situation. And that's also the case with groundwater shortage. So farmers that rely on groundwater and they have too little, they also drop seasons, or they try to use other water sources as well. Now we have in the project we've been working on, and we still continue with this project in the upcoming 2 years, is to identify transition pathways to deal with these stresses. There are a lot of things you can think about. For example, crop shifting towards more salinity resilient crops, or types of varieties. But you can also think about, for example, groundwater storage in coastal zones, so that you replenish the aquifers. Restoring mangrove forests, that's also, you create some sedimentation on the coastline, and that may also help to prevent salinity intrusion. But also you have to look at adaptive water management strategies, and that's also actually what the farmers were indicating, that because we were also asking them what they would like to see change, or what kind of innovations or investments they would like to see. They also looking for new innovative water management strategies to deal with their water problems. I'm going to focus specifically on those.
Jan, you have about 2 minutes left.
Okay, thank you. So the first one is to look for storage and retention. We've done some pre-feasibility assessment where we analyze the synergies and trade-off of different options. So for example, you have jars and tanks, which are relatively cheap, but storage volume is low, while on the other hand, you can invest in surface or subsurface storage, which requires a larger capacity, but of course, it's more expensive. You will also have to think about irrigation innovations. So mostly now it is done by continuous flooding, but you can also think about more modernized irrigation, like sprinkler, even drip for some crop types, because that also helps you to be more safe with the water, to produce the same amount of crop but with less water. And that some of those techniques are also able to grow crops even when the water is a little bit brackish. We also looked at water treatment. That is more specifically relevant for, let's say, commercial livestock farm, for example, which have more income, and who also really rely on very good water quality, for example, to prevent water-related diseases in animals. So for such kind of activities, water treatment technologies could provide a solution. And a no-regret solution is to see how to maximize the soil organic content in soils, because that is a good measure to deal with salinity, but also it holds the water better So you need less irrigation. Next step basically is yes, to do feasibility assessment of all these kind of management strategies, and also to set up some pilots and demonstration sites, so you can really see in real conditions with real farmers, yeah, how these innovations work out. And you also have to assess the socio-economic environmental impacts to see which one have the potential to be upskilled. That's basically the next steps. And we've also submitted some proposals to set up such pilots. The last slide I would like to show you, that is, yeah, I've now presented this work on the Mekong Delta of Vietnam. We've also heard some very interesting presentations about also water-related pressures, among others, in Bangladesh. But you can see here that it is actually a global issue. It's all the blue and, yeah, let's say the purple, dark blue dots indicate where water, either flood, sea level rise, or water scarcity is an issue for agriculture. And it's not only in Asia where it is the main issue, of course, but also in Africa, Southern America, and in Europe. So we are really touching upon a very relevant issue that has yeah, a global impact. And with that, I would like to finalize my presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Gert-Jan, for this interesting presentation on Vietnam, and showing us again the kind of interaction between the water and the food system. There is a question for you already in the Q&A, so I'm referring you to that. But I would like to continue our presentations and appreciating the patience of the audience for all these presentations first, and then the question and answer session. Stay with us. Now we will have the contribution of Dr. Kien Van Nguyen from Vietnam. And as he cannot be with us today, he has sent us the video. So I'm asking the technical team to start the video so that we can listen to the presentation on organic rice farming transformation in the Mekong Delta. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, evening. I am Kien Van Nguyen from An Giang University, and also the director of Mekong Organics based in Australia. I wish to present the topic about organic rice transformation in the Mekong Delta under the Living Delta Hub, where I lead the agriculture and food system project in the Living Delta Hub. My presentation includes 4 sections. First, I would like to talk about the status of organic rice in the Mekong Delta, and organic rice development model, and national and provincial government policy, and opportunity and challenge. There are 3 different kinds of organic rice farming in the Mekong Delta. Firstly, there are individual farms or farmers. They operate the farms about several hectares to 10 hectares, or some farm up to 200 or 300 hectares. And also the second type is about organic cooperative, organic agriculture cooperative. They cooperate with a group of farmers in the same village to produce organic rice, about up to several was up to 100 hectares per cooperative. And the third one, the private businesses or rice export or businesses, they buy the products or they contract farming with cooperative, or they contract directly with individual farmers, and they invest seed input and assure that they buy organic rice product, and they mill process, package, and sell the rice domestically or export internationally. We also have received the farmer received the support from government like Ministry of Agriculture or DARC, Department of Agriculture and Rural Development in provincial level through the policy and planning. And farmer also receive support from NGO social enterprise like Mekong Organic or Organic Agriculture Institute in Ho Chi Minh City, where they provide training to organic cooperative or farmers and link them to business. And also the farmers in Mekong Delta receive international organization support from DFAT, Australian Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade, Living Delta or FAO to support their organic farming. Here you can see several big company or small company or cooperative. They invest in organic rice farming in Mekong Delta. Vĩnh Phú is the first, the pioneer one. They invested in Cà Mau province with 300 hectares and certified international standard USDA and CHAS about 2010 and 12. And then several names you can see. Hoa Nắng company invested 200 hectares in Cà Mau in Bến Tre province. And in Cà Mau we have 3 companies, Cỏ Mây, Tấn Vương and Lotus Rice, invested over 500 hectares in Cà Mau province. And we have small company like Kiên Giang. In Kiên Giang we are organic rice shrimp company, or Việt Sushi invested in Trà Vinh 50 hectares, or we have cooperative like Tấn Đạt cooperative invested 60 hectares in Vĩnh Long province, or the Cá Bờ Đập cooperative invested in Sóc Trăng about 10-12 hectares, or Tư Biệt in Kiên Giang about 40 hectares. That's the figure that you can see. There a big movement along the time. Here we can see the support. There are several organizations or international and local university investors in organic rice and organic agriculture in general in the Mekong Delta. We can see FAO, DFAT, Mekong Organics, Rotary Club, or CICAR, Oxfam, Anyang University, University of Barcelona, and other organizations, investors, research like Living Delta Hub and part of that invested funding and resource to scale up organic rice farming in the Mekong Delta. In 2017 and 18, Vietnamese government issued the organic standard, national organic standard, and then the decision about organic agriculture or planning for 10 years. Under this, each provincial government in the Mekong Delta detail the planning for their province and invest in organic agriculture. For example, Sóc Trăng and Cà Mau invested a project over $3 million for 5 years to work in organic agriculture in Sóc Trăng province, to support farmers, cooperative, and businesses who invest in organic agriculture in the province. The outcome of the 5 years efforts of organic rice transformation in the Mekong Delta, I can say that the first efforts come from the businesses and cooperative. Most rice export or rice retailer or rice export company invested organic rice farming with the cooperative and buy the products and marketers. And you can say majority they are of limited company. They have capacity to find the market and to provide the support to farmer. And there are about 1,800 hectares of organic rice are certified by international organization, international standard, and most of them located in Cà Mau province, Kiên Giang province, Sóc Trăng province, Trà Vinh, Bến Tre, and Vĩnh Long, most in the coastal provinces. And you can see there are about over 2 million hectares of conventional rice were cultivated in the Mekong Delta, but only 1,800 hectares was converted to organic rice in the last 5 years. It is more, very modest number compared to conventional, but there is the big interest and movement from this is a very new industry, new sector for Vietnam. I can tell you the last 5 years I studied research about organic agricultures in rice, opportunity and challenge to scale up. I talked to many businesses, cooperative, researchers, NGO, and farmers. I found this. There are opportunity and challenges. The opportunity include the coastal provinces. The land are suitable for converting to organic rice. And I can see the interest from the business. They are interested to invest in organic rice farming and cooperate with cooperative or farmer to establish the market for organic rice in the Ho Chi Minh City or Hanoi or export. And I can see there are government policy that support organic agriculture at national level or also at provincial government level. For example, in Sóc Trăng and Sóc Trăng and Cà Mau provinces, they support strongly organic farming in the two provinces. And NGO and social enterprise or international organization, they are the pioneers to support funding and working with local industry, local NGO to support, provide training to organic farmers or organic cooperative and link business and business. For example, Mekong Organic and Asia Organic Research Institute, they did a lot of job to link business and cooperative and farmer. I can see the available of organic input now in Vietnam market, more fertilized or pesticide, organic pesticide to control pests were produced or domestically or import that support the organic industry, and they are the big market demand in global or potential in the domestic market. However, I can see the challenges that farmers or cooperative or government or business are facing. First, at the farmer level, it's very difficult to change their habit from conventional to organic because they use the chemical for over 30 years in their rice farming. They need to take time to change their behavior or learn the new farming practice. And weed management and the lack of agricultural mechanization, that help to manage the waste. Farmers suffer from weight loss and international high cost of international certification standard very costly, and to farmers and business, and also to small cooperative. Climate change, abnormal weather, pest disease management is a very topical issue. Input costs is still high for organic agriculture, like high cost from organic fertilizer from import. Because most of organic certified organic fertilizer is imported, and there is a lack of trust between enterprise, farmer, and cooperative. It need to be supported by local NGO or local government to develop partnership between business and enterprise and cooperative. They are difficult to work together. That's the social, the soft measure, the soft skill for farmers or business should be developed to understand, to go hand in hand to promote or scale up organic rice farming. Organic rice or organic market in Vietnam is still young, and especially there is a lack of commitment from community, farmer and cooperative. For example, I hear the feedback from a local government in one village or one commune. They said when the organic rice company or project come in and support, and they follow organic standard, but when the project finish, they are likely to ignore, or they are not committed to continue organic farming. That's the big challenge for organic rice scaling up in the Mekong Delta. Most farmers or cooperative, they rely on external actor like enterprise or NGO, government policy support. This is a big challenge because they need to develop the human resource or capacity building or self-motivation better than they rely too much on external. When the external support finish, they are not likely to continue. And last point I want to share, that the lack of research for development in organic agriculture in general, or organic rice in Vietnam, in Mekong Delta, because most of university or research organization, they have not invested research in this area. So far, most of this task is done by NGO or local farmer group or small funding project directly, not developed by any university research organization to specialize in organic farming. That's the big challenge for future sustainability of organic farming in the Mekong Delta or in Vietnam? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Keen, for this presentation. I would like to now open the floor for questions because we have some time for open discussion and question and answer. Already some people asked questions in the chat, and also they were some were already answered. But for instance, I saw a question of Dr. Irfanullah about the biodiversity increase. Dr. Irfanullah, would you like to highlight your question? Oh, I'm not sure that because he will not have speaking rights. So I will just kind of repeat the question. The question was to Dr. Mandal about the biodiversity increase, that if in the polder you have a nature-based solution for improving agriculture productivity and resilience, then the drainage with gravity would be a very good solution. However, with nature-based solutions, we also would like to enhance the biodiversity. So how would that work? Dr. Mandal, would you like to say something about that?
Catherine, I allowed Dr. Hasib Irfanullah to come and
Oh,
talk.
okay,
Yeah,
that is great.
if he wants.
Okay, Dr. Irfanullah, yes, please.
Thank you very much. Catherine has nicely actually summarized my question, and Dr. Mondal and Dr. Yadav actually replied to my questions. But for the benefit of the audience, Dr. Mondal can summarize it. And thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you for the nice question. This is usually the question I expected. In the southwest, the Satkhira region, as I mentioned in my written answer, most of the uptake rivers that originate from the Padma are closed, aside from Farakka Barrage, are closed by the flood control and irrigation, flood control embankment of the Ganges Kubatak irrigation project, especially Kumar, Nabaganga, Madhumati, Kabadak. So that both dry and wet season flow is obstructed, and then sedimentation occurs more through the Meghna flow. It comes to the Satkhira through the Bay of Bengal, and as a result of sedimentation, the river bed silted up, and then it is not possible to drain out by gravity. You need a pumping drainage, definitely. But my presentation is for the medium and low saline coastal zone. As I mentioned, in entire Borishal division, it's the low saline area, and then still the drainage by gravity is possible. Most of the lands. There are some low-lying areas, depression areas. Let us consider it's the educated guess. I do not have the data. 20 to 25% of the area cannot be drained. So forget about those issues. If of 1.2 million hectares, if 50% of the area can be drained, that I projected that additional 4 to 5 million metric tons of food grains can be harvested from that coastal zone. And you raise the biodiversity issues. Yes, biodiversity is a concern, but I am also concerned about the food security of the human being and the animal food and feed security. So we are conducting the research for food and feed security of the of those who are around us. Yes, the frogs, animals, or other things we did not consider because that's beyond our capacity. But as Dr. Sudhir Yadav mentioned that we are giving coverage, crop cover in the dry season, that reduces the buildup of the topsoil salinity, and that increases. You have seen some of the maize field that crops are green crops, so that is giving good for feed for the livestock. I do not have data on the other biodiversity issues, but use of the fertilizer and chemicals, yeah, we know that destroy some of the natural enemies and also friends for our environment. But what to do? People in the other parts of Bangladesh and across the globe, if you have seen the Vietnam presentation, organic rice, farmers are going for that. So we took that as granted that we could not control this on, because this is beyond our control. We have to go for our own security. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much for your suggestion regarding that. I do think that the question of Dr. Ivanulov is very relevant in the sense that when we saw in the different presentations that kind of water is critical to agriculture and food security, that we need a kind of integrated approach. So in that integrated approach, if there is demand for water for food security, at the same time there is concern about biodiversity, we will wish to not only focus on production, but we will wish to focus on integrating also the biodiversity aspects with the food security aspects in sense of production. So it will be very interesting to see how also in research we can kind of address this matter by bringing experts on biodiversity together with experts on production, and to see how then the food system can also contribute to sustaining and preferably enhancing the biodiversity. So it's a kind of balancing, and like Dr. Mandal said, sometimes there are trade-offs that you want the one and then you can't have the other, but also sometimes there can be synergies. So that will be very good if we can have synergies with regard to food production and biodiversity. And what I know from research in Wageningen is that there is research currently ongoing on the nature-based solutions and the food system. So how can we create benefits for both, because both are very important in that regard. Okay, thank you very much for that answer. Dr. Salahuddin, do we
Yes.
have more questions? Because you were keeping an eye on the chat.
Yes. For Dr. Giyashuddin Ahmed Chaudhry, we have actually 2 questions. One is from Dr. Bhandari. His question is into 3 sections. The first section was answered because Delta Plan is actually taking care of the whole country. The next 2 components are like, what adaptation mitigation measures in agriculture are needed for climate resilience? I think it is asked from the point of view of the Delta Plan. What type of enabling environment is needed to build resilient agriculture? If he has answers, want to answer that first.
Giyashuddin, can you give an answer to both these questions?
Yeah, you are the right person to answer this question. Okay. What Delta Plan is a water-centric plan. So that's why I said that it will create an enabling environment for growing crop. That means during monsoon or flood season, keeping water outside from the agricultural land, and during dry season when crop water is required, irrigation system should be there. And so in that way, and previously question that Mandal was asking in this you see in Satkhira area, we have suggested to implement the Ganges barrages. For in the future, we see there will be water shortage in the southwest region, even whole country. So for growing more crop, we shall need water. So building barrages is also an option that we have keep it in the Delta Plan. So there are many other options are there. Maybe this will partially answer your question. I am not sure whether I answered the question. If there is supplementary question.
I think it's an excellent answer for the question. I see some thumbs up coming in the screen. And Giyashuddin, maybe in this regard of enabling, and maybe in this regard of kind of the how much Delta Plan can be helpful in the country, At the moment, the agriculture minister is also looking towards the future in the agriculture transformation program. So how do you see? Wouldn't it be great if those two would be kind of aligned side by side for the implementation of the Delta Plan and also the implementation of agriculture transformation program? What is your suggestion?
That's very good. We are also working with Agriculture Extension Department, and they are also trying to develop projects, and we are facilitating those things, the projects. And as I said, our Delta Plan is holistic. So in each and every project, this water security, food security, and economic growth, all will have to be sorted out. Now, it is upon the implementing agency how they are. We have given a framework how implementing agency is going to. So I hope this the research that has been discussed today, also more research will be there. This will be in the future. This will be integrated in the project concepts and preparing pre-feasibility studies or feasibility studies or implementation of the projects. And of course, it's very important. Transformation is very important. And we are aware of that. Agriculture minister is very much keen on it. So I hope they will also come up solution. But it is up to the agriculture department. We have created the environment. Now they will have to come up.
Yes, and you welcome very much the integrated approach also there, where the knowledge then gets incorporated in the future plans.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much for that contribution. Are there other questions?
Yes, Dr. Irfanullah also has a question for Mr. Ghiyasuddin. Dr. Irfanullah, do you want to talk about it?
Yes, sure. Thank you. We have heard in the first presentation that Dr. Bhandari was mentioning that under the work package 4, governance has been a very big issue if we really want to make our food system resilient. So I was just wondering if Dr. Ghiyasuddin could shed some light on how Delta Plan is considering inclusive governance as it is focusing on agri-food systems resilience under changing climate.
That is a very good question and a very big question. So, but in Delta Plan, we are focusing also the participatory on water management. So you can have a system ready, but how to involve the farmers, how to get out most out of them. So we are focusing on participatory water management, and we have given suggestion how to strengthen the water management organizations at the grassroots level. Also, we have suggested that now the time has come, maybe regional platform of the water management organization should be set up. And the first step, we thought that Khulna, Southwest region, could be the best candidate for it. So that was our focus. And you may heard about Blue Gold project, and under this Blue Gold project, with BDP has arranged a workshop in Dhaka, and that was a very good workshop. And there many suggestions came how to strengthen these water management organizations. Of course, at the national level, those national organizations should also be strengthened. That is also there. But and sometimes maybe Delta Plan, everybody thinks very big. No, we are focusing also on the water management at the local level. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. Dr. Salahuddin, do
Yes.
we have further questions?
Yeah, there is another question for Dr. Mondal from Mr. Firoz Alam. Mr. Firoz Alam, you are with us?
I think he is in the audience. His question was about gravity, right?
Yes.
And I think he got already a partial response that the gravity does allow to drain the polders in the Khulna, Bagirhat and Borijal regions. However, that in Shatkhira area there, the gravity is sometimes not possible because of the height of the riverbed. So there are serious limitations. And I think also Ghiyasuddin mentioned this in his answer, that then other kind of solutions are being explored at the moment. Maybe we can see in the chat whether we have answered the question of Feroz Islam sufficiently.
I don't think it was.
Well, maybe he can give an answer there too.
Dr. Mondal, do you want to respond?
I think Catherine mentioned that what I wrote it in my response, that yeah, gravity irrigation is I mentioned that is for the my presentation is for the medium and low saline coastal zone. Entire Borijal zone is into Borijal, Khulna and Bagirhat district. Part of Shatkhira and the lower part of Khulna, maybe because of the siltation of the river bed, is not possible. And there are some low-lying areas in the polder. You know, polder is a special shape, so there must be some low pockets in the polder zone. So for this reason, the entire polder zone cannot be drained by gravity. That is for true. And then, regarding the cropping intensification, if we can go for up to 50-60%, that is a great for us for meeting future food security requirement. We are food secure now, but I foresee that we can by 2030 we can achieve the sustainable development goal on and to from the coastal polder zone alone, if we can manage intelligently our water resources.
Thank you very much for this further clarification. Dr. Salahuddin, do we have more questions?
Yeah, there was one question for Dr. Wilberts, which was actually responded by sending text back to the answers. But if Dr. Wilberts want to explain it a little bit.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, there was a question about what are the salinity and drought resilient crops that could be selected. Yeah, and I answered that via sending an online link. Basically, you first have to look at yeah, let's say the salinity conditions in the different regions in the delta, because they're not everywhere the same. And there's also I've used a publication, but there are also other publications. I also know that in Wageningen University they're doing research regarding salt tolerance of different crops and different varieties. Basically, you have to match the let's say the salinity tolerance of crops with the saline conditions of the environment. And I've shared a publication where you can see for a long list of crops and fruit trees what the salinity tolerance is. And if you know the, let's say, the salinity condition in a delta, you can use it as a basis to see what kind of crops may be suitable for that region.
Thank you very much for that further highlight. If you allow me, Dr. Salahuddin, I also have a question to Dr. Bandari. What I would like to ask, because I found it very interesting in your presentation, that your research has longer term goals. And what I find very special is that between the kind of 5 major goals, there is no production goal. And I think that's very important to notice that, of course, we think with water and water management, we think first and foremost on increasing production. However, I do think as part of your systematic approach in studying food systems, which of course means also agriculture and livestock and everything, that you do not only focus on the production, rather you focus on 5 other goals. Maybe you like to enlighten us on that one.
Yeah, thank you, Catherine. I think that's a very good observation. So what it was highlighted there is more in terms of the ultimate outcome, but in terms of production, like whether we say the nutrition, that's also agriculture-based production. Whether we talk about the poverty reduction, it's also the production or higher the productivity that will ultimately lead to the ultimate outcome. That's why we just put as ultimate outcome, but there are a lot of intermediate results which come as a productivity and then production. Definitely that's very, very important, and then immediate one, and it's all built there. Because of the time and other things, I just put only the ultimate outcome, last outcome. But otherwise, definitely production is very, very important. And that's the immediate output leading to outcome.
Thank you very much for highlighting that. And still, I think it's very nice to see that you shared with us the longer term goals, that we should not only focus on production, we should also focus on improving the nutrition status, having the safe food, having the environment not suffering from the food production, having poverty addressed as an element, because sometimes we do have enough food, but then it does not reach the right people, and all these kind of aspects. So the integrated approach that we are saying that we need in tackling the matter, we do find it back in your research, and we do find it back in the goals that you set for your research. So that's why I think this is a very important point. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, thank you. Fully agree on that.
Okay, well, Dr. Salahuddin, can I proceed to summarize some of our key messages?
Yes, please.
Okay, because I think in this very interesting session, we have heard about a food systems approach in deltas, where it means that the different elements are very much linked. So water and food, agriculture production, including also livestock and fisheries, are linked to kind of climate risks and resilient livelihoods that we envisage. So the key message is that water is critical to agriculture and food security. The other key message is that we need integrated solutions at various levels, linking government, knowledge, private sector, and civil society. And actually all contributions are important. So collaboration is essential. And then in the kind of specific parts of the solutions also, we learned that monitoring and adjustment, in a way an adaptive management approach, is essential. We need to be learning all the time, and we need to be strengthening local level water management organizations to make it possible. I'd like to thank you very much for contributing to this session. And also I would like to stress that this session is not a kind of standalone. Already we had a session in the COP27 meeting in Egypt last November, where also we had jointly kind of discussed this matter to bring it forward. And again, there will be upcoming shortly the UN Water Conference in New York for 22nd to 24th, 22nd to 24th March. And you will be interested to know that there is also a session on water and food systems. I'm putting in the chat the link to that session, and I will communicate these key messages also to be represented in that UN 2023 Water Conference, because we want to take action worldwide on this matter. You will be pleased to hear that the State Minister of Bangladesh, Mr. Zahid Farouk, will also be joining in that session in New York. Together with all kind of other dignitaries, researchers, etc., you're all, if you're there, most welcome to join. And please be aware that also the plenary sessions of the UN Water Conference will be available with a direct link from the UN TV channel. Having said that, these are the key messages from my side. As the moderator of the session, I want to thank very much the speakers in this session, as well as a specific thanks to the IRRI Bangladesh team for organizing the session and the ICAT technical team for making everything possible. And then I'm handing back to Dr. Salahuddin for the networking part in this session. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Catherine. But we actually have very little time to talk about networking. But can we start with some of the panel members that are actually representing very vital organizations, such as you, Dr. Giyashuddin, and also with you, Dr. Wilbers. Maybe you can briefly talk about the kind of network you were already operating globally, which has direct and indirect links to what we do in Asian Mega Delta, and then how we can actually benefit from each other's sharing of knowledge, and also, if needed, some designed programs so that we can, in the future, of course, whenever there is something to share or to contribute to each other's work, how could we do that the coming days?
Okay, if you're asking me the question, I'll give a short answer because I already talked a lot. So I like others to also get that opportunity to talk. From Wageningen, we are engaging in research on deltas and food systems in deltas, and we focus especially also on transition pathways, on salinity and drought. And anybody who would like to know more, I already put a website into the chat where it says food in deltas. And if you click that one, you can find more information about our research. And anybody who wants to link with us, please send me an email so that we can communicate about this further, or my colleague, Dr. Gert-Jan Wilbers, who also presented in this session. Back to you, Dr. Salahuddin.
I have the question for Dr. Giyashuddin Chaudhary, that within the framework of the Delta Plan and the team that is engaged now also, that what kind of opportunity we have to learn from each other and talk more in our future activity as we go. For Bangladesh, we started this year, and it will continue for 3 years. But Delta Plan as a national body, you have continuous activities, and you have also a scope for different projects to talk to each other and to complement each other's work. So do you see any opportunity that Asian Mega Delta program has to really interact with the Delta Plan programs?
Thank you, Dr. Salahuddin. First, I want to tell you that first International Delta Conference was held in April. and maybe in future, maybe this year, end of this year, there will be another conference, international conference will be there. And about last conference, about 600 people participated, both inside, from within the country and outside the country. And so far I understand, the representative was also there. I don't remember the name, but the representatives are there also. Now,
Dr. Hamad Bandari, yes.
Yeah. So now one information for you. We are updating the investment plan, and we are working on it. So at this moment, it will be useful for us if we get some ideas, whatever is there, what type of new projects or innovations should be there, then you can put it in our updated Delta plan. But that should be done within 2 months. Within 2 months, our project ends. This phase of the project ends in June. So that type of any suggestion from our participant here, from Mondol and others, that if you have any idea that this type of research should be taken, then we can include it in our Delta plan that way. And our team is always available for taking part in any activities in future on IRRI, taken by the IRRI. So we are available here. That's much I can say now.
Thank you so much. I think any person present here want to raise any suggestion for networking for the future, especially at the national, regional, and local level? Any suggestion for future? Anybody can raise hand, I can allow. Dr. Mondol, you want to say something?
Actually, I am not talking about the regional networking, but in reply to Yashud sir's response that they need to develop a big project, a project that can be that Delta Plan can run. So I may suggest that the technologies we have developed, ED and its partners, that can be piloted in a folder, a whole folder basis. And then see the consequences of the productivity, water use, and then biodiversity issues are there, involving the community and the community organizations, especially the water management organizations that formed by the BWDB, and also the local government representatives, like the Union Commission. So to validate that how far we can go with the improved technologies.
Shall I give answer to Dr. Mondol?
Yes, please.
I think, as I suggested, Dr. Mondol, and we have worked with for last few years also, I know it well. So can you please give us a concept note? Because, I'm not the subject matter specialist, and that I can include in the updated investment plan. And hopefully can suggest, because these are, I know about your project for a long time. I've seen your activities. So there's a very good suggestion. If you just help me giving a concept note, and further I will develop. And that will be helpful for me also and for your project also.
Okay, sir. I think I'll see you sometimes face-to-face discussion, and then we'll develop the concept note.
Please do it. Please do it.
Okay.
Not only you, to anybody any idea, please share with us. Because Delta Plan overarching, we're taking every sector. About 10 more sectors, and agriculture is the most important sector. And we are working for the food production, for the raising the people's living standard, and food and nutrition is very important in that respect. So we welcome any suggestion, but that should be within a very short time, maybe within 2 months.
Great. Thank you so much. Dr. Bandari wants to intervene.
Yeah, just in terms of this networking and partnership, I just want to add a few things. The Asian Mega Delta program, it's jointly developed by the 6 CGIAR centers, but it's implemented in 6 countries. So there is a lot of regional program there. But although it's developed by the CGIAR Center, but we very much would like to work with the different national and international organizations like WUR, Delta Plan, ICAD, and other things. There is a lot of opportunity learning from one country to other, bringing knowledge, partnership. And under this Asian Megadata, there is, we call this learning alliance, where we bring together different agencies and learn who is doing what and how can we share the knowledge, technology, innovations. So I think there is a lot of opportunity to work together. So we are very much interested to work, and maybe we need to find out how we can work together, because in this world, different center has different expertise and different areas. So I think there is very good opportunity this forum to bring together. So whether in terms of knowledge sharing, capacity development, innovation sharing, so maybe we can find out some ways how can we work together in terms of national and international collaboration. So we are very much interested and work with many national and international organizations. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Bindari. It was very helpful. Dr. Hasib Irfanullah.
Very quickly, thank you very much for raising the question of the importance of network and partnership. I believe the Gobeshona conference, it is all about that. But given the main focus of Gobeshona conference is locally led adaptation, and to make locally led adaptation effective, we do need not only mobilizing the local actors, but connecting them to the national, regional, and global actors as well. And I'm really glad to hear all the dignitaries who are actually sharing their network, the opportunities. I'm sure that will be translated into local action, bringing in local stakeholders. Thank you. Thank you very much for having me here.
Exactly. Thank you so much. Any other person present here wants to contribute? If they have their own network, we can also, participate. And whenever we have some opportunity at the local, regional level or at the national level, we would also like to invite all of you. So if any ideas that how we can collaborate and join each other's program, I actually allowed all of the Bangladeshi participants here to join if you want to contribute. Otherwise, yeah, Catherine, maybe
Yes,
we can go.
I would
Yes.
really kind of like it very much. Well, I want to say two things. I would like it very much whenever we have meetings in our networks that we let others know. So because if I might be in the country and you have something in Bangladesh, I would definitely wish to make time available and join you there, and vice versa. Like for instance, when we did the Delta Knowledge Days in September, and when also we organized there a session where we had both from the Asia Mega Deltas people presenting, as well from other organizations. And I like to point out that there is a small initiative which is called Bangladesh Delta Bulletin, and this is a small A4 summary of information where for all different kind of topics related to Delta, either about meetings that have already happened, or about meetings that are going to happen, or about papers that are interesting. And in this one, the Bangladesh Delta Bulletin, the keywords are in a way Bangladesh and Delta, and then it can cover any topic. And if you are interested, you can mail me, but I'm also putting the email address in the chat. If you want to subscribe or contribute, you're most welcome. It's quarterly available. Thank you, Salahuddin.
Thank you so much, Catherine. I think we should close our session now. Thank you for all of your participation. But for the future, let's close and talk to each other and inform each other's activities around these deltas and, and also concerning all the fields that we have presented and mentioned and discussed here. So we look forward to all kinds of collaboration whenever there is an opportunity to do so. Thank you very much for participation, everybody. Dr. Humnat Bhandari, do you want to close?
No, thank you. I just would like to thank everybody for participation. It was really a good, rich knowledge. We talk about Bangladesh, Vietnam, Netherlands, Delta Plan. It's really a rich discussion within 2 hours. I'm sure you all agree that we learn a lot. So thank you so much for your time.
I think that Mr. Ghiazuddin Chaudhary wanted to say something.
Just
thank you very much.
if we
Thank
can
you,
have one, if everybody open the photo at the video, and if we can have one photo, that will be wonderful.
Okay. Thank you very much, everybody, for allowing me to speak something about Delta Plan. But Delta Plan is very big plan. So, Dr. Salahuddin, if there is some opportunity, then I can, more comprehensively, I can present Delta Plan. So thank you, everybody, and thank you, Catherine.
Yeah, especially through Delta Plan, we want to reach to the government side of it, because we have very, poor representation here from the government. So maybe through Delta Plan authorities and technical team, we want to reach to the government more in the future. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Hello, everyone.
Yeah,
let's take a photo together.
Yeah,
we can you kindly open our video so that we can take the photo. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Please share the photo with us as well.
Thank you, ECAT team, for collaboration and working from behind. So, and all of your support. Thank you so much.